Lots to talk about eventually once we get this party started. But
well, I mean, hey, let's get the party started right off the bat. I mean, this year Record Store Day drops take place on my birthday, June 12th. So I feel like Triumph's doing this for me specifically. Triumph's been named the Canadian ambassadors for Record Store Day, and they're doing a 40th anniversary exclusive box set of Allied Forces set for release on my birthday, June 12th, via Roundhill Records. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mike Levine from Triumph.
Nice to see you. Mitch, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. The last time we spoke was by a phone with a cassette recorder. So flip the tape. Hey, Mike.
I was just saying to Mike off the air, I was like, remember back in the day, you used to have, journalists come down to the venue, you do it in person or you do it over the phone. Now it's like, it's everything's Zoom and, bad connections.
But here we are. So I guess let's just start off with the actual album Allied Forces. I mean, it was a force to be reckoned with, especially in the Canadian music scene. Before we get to the release and the whole big thing, just quickly talk to me about the importance of that album for the band, because to me that's the one where it sort of everything exploded, right?
Yeah, that's the one that really captured everybody's attention on pretty much a worldwide basis, actually. And we just kept building on that. That was the one that really put us on the map. We went from playing small arenas to doing big arenas, and selling gold albums to selling platinum albums. So I think the music spoke for itself on that record.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting now. You look back at that record, and it's like almost over 40 years old at this point, right? Like 1981 came out.
Yeah.
So going on to the 40th anniversary of this, it's kind of interesting when I listen back to that record. Like, I'm 26 years old, and I discovered this stuff by listening to Shome in Montreal, and hearing the stuff in the mornings, getting on the school bus, and that was really where I discovered rock and Triumph. And I always was really impressed with the sound of that record specifically. Like, it was produced really well, and the engineering was just done so well. Talk a little bit about the scene and being in the studio at that time. Were you guys experimenting with technology and having some fun in the studio? What was the vibe like?
Well, that was the first album that we did at Metalworks, that we built. So we could make records in our own place, and we weren't paying rent and watching the clock all the time. Going, that'll have to do. We're running out of money.
Yeah. So you blew the whole budget by building the studio. So now you're like, well, we got to make something now.
The unfortunate part is, it has to end at some point. Rick, you can't do another guitar solo. Okay, this one's perfect. Oh, yeah. Just give me another shot. I'll come in tomorrow morning. I said, Rick, I have to be in New York to master it tomorrow. It's already mixed. You can't do anything anymore.
But there's that one bum note. Let me just go in. No, it's already mastered. Don't touch it.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to take our time on that record. So it was, we were able to write in the studio. We were able to do demos, and nice demos, to do the bed tracks, put a rough vocal on it, and go, that's a piece of garbage, throw it out. We can never fix that.
Right.
So it was really advantageous. And the studio, we had really great gear that we had acquired over the course of, it was about a year and a half in the building of the studio. But just finding stuff. And, I was in New York at RCA Records, which was our label. They were closing down the recording studio.
Oh.
At which they had about 5 in their building. And I had the head engineer walk me through everything. I probably bought $50,000 worth of stuff that I got for like $5,000.
Wow. So you're walking through the studio like, okay, I'll take that 1176. I'll take that LA2A.
Yeah, that's right. LA2. I bought 10 LA2As.
Wow. Yeah. So your studio was proper.
Yeah, you couldn't find them anywhere, right?
Right.
Rick and Gillen going, I called him. I said, guess what? I got a score on a bunch of LA2As. They said, well, what's that? I said, only the best tube limiter made in history.
Yeah, only the best compressors ever. That's amazing. Well, I'm sure you used a lot of the LA2As on the vocals on that record, because I mean, it's just really well done, and I still maintain it's one of the best records of the '80s. So.
Well, thank you. Like I produced that record, so I'll take that as a compliment.
Right. Yeah. You produced a lot of the early work, right?
Yeah, pretty much all about everything, regardless. I was hands-on in the studio all the time.
Is it safe to say it's your band, Mike? I mean,
Well, it was our band.
yeah.
You
Was it a real collaborative effort between the three of you?
Yeah, Gil took care of the touring end and the money, the bookkeeping. We had a staff, but that was kind of his purview.
Yeah.
I took care of the records and the record company and promotion, and Rick got to sit at home and write songs. So
It's a good gig.
Yeah.
Well, okay, talk to me there just real quick about producing all those early records or most of the records. At some point, do you not need a set of outside ears to come in and say, "Hey guys, you should try this"? Didn't you want to go to Bob Ezrin or any of those guys? Why not bring somebody else in?
Well, we had a nice little club.
Right.
It was called Mike Levine Kill. And we brought in outside engineers, right? Like Mike Jones, who was local, we had worked with before on the Just a Game album. But he was a great engineer. He was my first choice for guys. But later on, I brought in Eddie Kramer late in the game. We never surrendered. We worked with a guy named Dave Thoner, who was recording engineer, quote unquote, co-producer as well. So those guys had ears, and they were definitely helpful along the way. But like I love Bob Ezrin like a brother, okay? But I could never work with him.
How come?
Back then, he was very, very aggressive. And he pitched me once. I was in the dentist chair. He came in because I was leaving town the next day. He came in, periodontist. He came in, he was wearing this full-length fur coat. It was wintertime. And he started pitching me while he was,
So it was physical aggressiveness.
Physical aggressiveness. That was totally unreal. But Bob's a great producer. I give him props. He's brilliant. But we tried to work with Mutt Lange.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
What's so what's this Mutt Lange story? I've never heard this.
Well, I reached out to him and said, we'd like to work with you.
Well, paint a picture. Like, what year is this? Like around the time when he's doing Back in Black or working on Hysteria?
So it's long before Hysteria.
Okay.
79, 80. So we're dealing
like Highway to Hell time, Back in Black.
Yeah, and then almost to 404 and all that.
Right.
But, he was brilliant, and he was very expensive, but his time was pretty much put because he was so good.
Do you remember how much Mutt was wanting to charge?
I can't. It was more than we'd make in a year on selling records. So it would be kind of like a lost leader.
Jeez. Yeah, but then if you did and it became massive, well, it probably would have paid for itself.
Well, probably, but who knows? He's brilliant.
Yeah, talk to me about Mutt though. It's like what was it about Mutt's work that made you want to gravitate towards wanting to work with him?
He spent a lot of time in the studio. He developed new sounds. He developed new ways of recording drums and guitars and vocals. He had paid his dues. If you go back to Highway to Hell, it's certainly not the best sonically sounding record I ever heard in my life. Right. But it was a very good record. But to me, it was the band that made a good record. It wasn't the production.
Yeah.
But as Mutt went on, he got better and better at what he did, and got bigger budgets, and was able to use them to create, the Def Leppard sound that he then transferred to Shania Twain. So
yeah, and Bryan Adams.
And Brian, yeah. Bob Rock, I would have liked to work with for sure. We actually reached out to a British guy, Martin Birch.
Martin Birch, with Whitesnake and all those great bands.
Deep Purple early on and stuff, So it's not like we didn't look for people. It's just a question of getting them, availabilities, time frames, schedules, etc.
But how do you think a producer like Mutt Lange coming in would have affected the sound of Allied Forces, for example? I mean, like, what do you think he would have brought to the band? I mean, would it have still been Triumph had Mutt come in?
I don't know. That's one of those weird things that you really have no idea how it would have turned out. could have been a whole lot better, and it could have been a whole lot worse. So
Right.
Well, to be fair, with the amount of talent between you guys and the Mutt coming in, I don't think it would have been bad.
yeah,
No.
I don't think so. Let's put it this way: it would never got to the point where it'd be bad. You just have a parting in the ways.
You saw his quote and you were just like, yeah, no, I think we're going to pass.
That's amazing though, that his quote was that high at that time. I mean, I would figure by 1988 after Def Leppard, just like, okay, but all right.
Well, you know who else said that was, I think it was Duff McKagan. He was saying that they were originally going to work with, they were trying to work with Mutt for Appetite for Destruction, and they got and he wanted like $100,000, like just to walk in for the meeting or something like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way. That's, you're getting here the right figures. Plus the
Good.
Point, plus
hey.
the points.
Yeah, well,
Right.
listen, he's earned his keep. Let me just quickly ask you about Record Store Day. How important is that for bands and for fans to have the availability of product that you can hold, and well, just start with that. That's the importance of that.
I grew up being in record stores on the weekends, flipping through 12-inch vinyl records.
Yeah.
Right. And that was the course of discovery, because there really wasn't much radio in Toronto. Chum FM hadn't gone out the air yet,
right,
with anything progressive, and everything was top 40 and on Chum, which was the big station here. But you didn't get to hear half the songs that were charting. Like Wilson Pickett in the Midnight Hour was #1 on Chum. They never played the record. Never.
Really? Never played in the Midnight Hour?
They never played it. Hold on, I'm coming. Sam and Dave never played it.
What about they play like Shotgun and stuff?
Nope.
Wow.
If it was black, they didn't play it.
Interesting.
Because there was, at that point in time, because I'm talking, late 50s, early 60s, mid 60s, there was like 12 black people in the city.
Wow.
So we used to have to listen to hear those songs. We used to a station in Buffalo called WUFO, Buffalo, and WBLK FM, and they were hot black stations. And there was 2 stores that carried downtown. They carried all the singles by Pickett and Sam and Dave and Bo Diddley and Arthur Connolly and all that. So I grew up playing an R&B band. So those songs were like ingrained in my DNA later on.
So you were heavily influenced by all that black music.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was the best stuff. Of course, the Beatles come along, and the Stones, and Zapp, and Purple, and Hendrix, and Janis,
and it's amazing to listen to that stuff now, because the musicianship on those records, it's just, like they were just powerhouse musicians in the pocket.
Oh God, frighteningly beyond belief.
Yeah.
But again, back to the record store thing. It's really important, like we used it as a means of discovery. So you'd look at it, you go, wow, what a neat cover. The music must be good, right? If it's a lousy cover, the music must be bad. So,
well, hold on a second. Let me ask you, Mike. It's like, what constituted a good cover in your eyes? If you were 12, 13, looking through the record store, going through the records, you saw something. Like, what stood out to you?
Oh, geez. I think, initially there wasn't much art, right? It was all the picture of the band or the artist, right?
Meet the Beatles.
Meet the Beatles. The Stones always had great packaging, I thought. Their covers, they really thought them out, I found anyway. And going back, even kind of around the same time, maybe, but like Chicago Transit Authority, that first album, the double album.
Yeah.
With just the logo on it. And that was it. And I went, wow, that's cool. And then I listened to it, and I spent God knows how many hours dropping the needle trying to copy Pete Cetera's bass picks. He was an incredible, all those guys were incredible players. I mean, it's just the absolute greatness of some of those bands will go on forever,
Yeah.
I hope.
One of the things that I find about Record Store Day, because I do find it very important for the industry, though, they don't cater to people who want CDs. They keep the physical product to vinyl, Um, will this be made available on CD at some point? And should you sort of cater to everybody who wants to buy a physical product?
Yes and no. This one in particular, we debated whether to put a CD in the package, right?
Right.
And we went, well, the people that are really going to buy this box are going to be the hardcore fans. They're already going to have CDs and then probably vinyl albums. And so how do you make that Allied Forces album different, right? So we
Right.
adjusted the logo for the box, and there's a picture disc, and that's really cool. So it's like something different, something to have in a home.
Yeah.
And then, we went through, we almost did like a focus group to find out what the fans really wanted, what would turn their cranks, because what we think they want, they probably go, I don't care about that stuff,
Well, that's it. It's kind of smart to ask the fans, what do you want?
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're the ones that buy it.
Exactly.
Well, I'm looking at I'm looking at what the box includes. So you got a picture disc of the original Allied Forces studio record. You got 2 LPs of Live in Cleveland from '81. You got a 7-inch single of the tribute 2021 version of Allied Forces and Magic Power live from Ottawa in 1982 that's never been released before.
Correct.
We like that unreleased stuff.
Yeah, you got an 11x17 Maple Leaf Gardens poster. It's a Canada exclusive, by the way. You can only get it in Canuckville. And a 24-page booklet featuring rare photos and behind the scenes, plus Allied Forces essay. And there's all kinds of other cool little knickknacks. So you got a retro tour book, retro tour poster. You got you got a backstage pass in there.
Guitar picks.
Handwritten lyrics. I mean, this is a proper package. And for any diehard fan out there, I mean, this is just perfect. I think you guys really hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I'm really happy. I wanted to put more stuff in it, but then it got to the point where the record company said, you know how much this is going to cost to ship the box?
Shipping gets more expensive than the product.
It already weighs enough, but you're going to need a dolly and a truck to move the thing around.
Right. What else did you want to put in it?
Geez, I wanted to put another piece of vinyl. We were going to do like a whole vinyl thing. Of everything, and that's where the weight issue came into it.
Yeah,
and then it was really hard to curate everything. So, we made the record company hire. You guys must know Andy Curran.
Yes, I'm talking to Andy Curran tomorrow morning, actually.
Oh, are you really? So
yes.
Andy put the whole thing together. So he went through our archives at the U of T. Where we donated everything, you name it, we donated it. And then he went upstairs to the attic at Metalworks and got really dusty and dirty and found some amazing stuff. Just amazing stuff.
Andy's great.
Yeah, he's fabulous. And he worked his ass off. I mean, it wouldn't be anywhere close to what it is now without him.
Yeah, I can, I'm not going to ask you the reunion question, but I'm going to ask you in a different way. Fans have always asked for you guys to get back together. What do you think is the appeal of the band and the music where here we are 40 years later and there's still fans out there that every day, every question, every Twitter message board will say, we want those 3 guys together. What did you do that made fans care so much?
We were pretty lucky, but we worked really hard. We tried our best. We took our fans into consideration. Like, for example, from a show point of view, it was always about the fans. What can we put on the stage that's going to turn their cranks? I mean, it's one thing to sit there and watch 3 guys play music.
Right.
That's not what concerts are about. It's about the production as well. So
big show. It was always a big show. Lots of lights. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, we won awards for the show. Performance Magazine gives Innovators of the Year award a couple of times for doing stuff nobody else did. So when we had extra dough, we put it back in the show. But it was, we used the effects, I'll call it not over the top. A lot of bands, the pyro goes off every song. Don't spare me that, lasers every song, fairy lights every song. It's like I see it bored looking at it. So what we did, we used the effects to enhance the music.
Right.
And that, to give it more power when it needed a little more power, or an element of surprise, or a gas. We used to call it the net gas factor. What good is an effect if people don't go, oh, what the hell was that?
Right.
So that's what we went for. And I think, we had loyal fans. There was like a bulletin. Every year or every year and a half, we'd be back in their city, and they'd be they'd be waiting for the ball to come. And but it was like that with everybody. It's like that with Rush and Journey and
Sure.
Styx and like the
But
tour.
still, it's got to be flattering that 40 years later, they're still. I mean, there are some bands that try hard to get press and try hard to get mentioned. They don't. And you guys have sort of been on the sidelines, and every year or every day, they got to get back together. Oh, those guys, they got to get back. I mean, it's amazing the love for the band.
Well, you guys got to know this too. I mean, you're both music junkies.
Yeah.
Like there's certain songs, there's certain bands that become the soundtrack of your life, right?
Yeah.
It's the first time you went on the date with your wife, and you happen to go to a concert, or you're in the car and you heard Magic Power on the radio, or something like that, and you bonded over that song. As we all do, there's songs that have really deep meaning to all of us. And some that don't, but you still know every word, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I think that's got a lot to do with it. Like we did, a fan event for the documentary.
Yeah, that was great.
It got like 150 of the absolute hardcore Triumph fans to show up on their own dime to go and look at memorabilia and talk to us and blah blah blah, and we surprised them by playing. And they, basically, shit their pants.
Yeah, they did.
It was total surprise. So those fans, we got to meet them and talk to them, right? And they're just beside themselves with love and enthusiasm and what the band means to them. So that interaction with the fans sometimes really, A, it humbles you a lot. But B, you also realize that, you've created something that's going to last a long, long time. It's something to be very proud of and lucky that you got a chance to do it.
Let me just quickly follow up on the soundtrack of your life, because for me, when we talk Triumph, it was Sport of Kings, the Sport of Kings. Talk to me a little bit about that album, because you've got Clink that comes in, you've got Tom Trumbo that comes in. You're not producing it, and I don't mean this disparagingly, but it was very slick. It was a real slick, much music MTV album that I just happen to love. I think it's terrific. What was that like for you? Did the record company come to you and say, "Listen, we've got Def Leppard and Bon Jovi and all these bands, and you need to do something like that"? Or did you just sort of gravitate to like, "Hey, let's just try something new. Let's make it as radio friendly as we can"? Because it's a great album.
It's interesting because during the course of the documentary, that plays a major part in the making of that record and what happened as a result of the negative fallout amongst the band members. So I'll save that story for the doc. But in general, Irving Azoff, who we all know is the biggest guy in the music business, was the president of MCA. They were the worst record label in the business. He had been there like
for rock bands, yeah.
Yeah, and he signed. We called it Music Cemetery of America. Irving comes over, and we were available for signing. We had a court case with RCA, another long story, but RCA agreed to let us go if somebody would buy us out. So it was between Irving and David Kaplan. And Irving says, I got the worst record label, but I got the most money. Let's go have lunch. Basically, that's how we changed the deal. So, and Tom Trumbo was the guy that told Irving to sign us. He was the A&R guy that worked for MCA. That stands for Artist of Repertoire, I think. I don't know if they still exist anymore, those guys. But,
part of.
Yeah. They're busy finding people on Instagram and TikTok to make one-hit wonders.
So Tom, as I found out later, like in the documentary, I thought it was Irving's idea that, he was looking for hits. Needed something that across the top 40, blah, blah, blah. Therefore, we should hire a big name producer.
Clink.
No. It was Ron Nevison.
Oh, UFO.
Ron Hart, Zeppelin.
Yeah, Strangers in the Night.
Yeah. So we agreed to go record in LA, do the bed tracks in LA. And Ron was, put it this way, he'd come up to Toronto a few times. We'd done some pre-production work. We got along great. I had a lot of respect for the guy and good chops and everything. And, we agreed on a direction. He was supposed to bring these 3 great songs to the project. And Mike Levine was Ron's engineer. Mike had never produced a record before. He just worked for Ron. So anyway, we end up not having a great time in LA, but we're back in Toronto doing the overdubs of That'll Work. And I'm in the lounge watching Much Music, I guess, or if they're around there. There's some music show. I see a video of a band from Vancouver who I have never heard of doing one of the quote unquote exclusive songs never been recorded that Ron brought to the project.
Oh.
Oops. What band was that, by the way?
I went, are you kidding me?
Wow. I would have been upset.
Yeah, you know, it turned out that of the 3 songs that Ron brought, all of them had been recorded by someone, and they all had been stiffs. For the uninitiated, that meant they were bombs. They were disasters.
Right.
Wow.
So, you know, we had a bust up over that, and Ron couldn't take it anymore because either he was pissed that we found out, or he just left. One day he wasn't there.
Wow.
Left with his tail between his legs.
Yeah, he really manned up on that one.
Yeah. Do you remember what the song was and what the band was?
Oh, God. Honestly, it's one of those things where you just want to put it right out of your mind.
Right, your mind. So then is sport, because I love Sporting King. So is it a sore spot for you? Do you consider it controversial? Do you dislike it? Because I thought it was great.
Oh, it became an interpersonal problem with the band.
Really?
Yep. And it was like just a horrible experience for all of us.
Well, does it give you any comfort that I like it? At least
I'm really glad you like it.
Listen, Mike, I'm sorry. I know that it broke up the band and y'all wanted to murder each other, but fuck, it's a great album.
I like it. I thought it was.
It turned out pretty good, but we had to replace those 3 songs.
Right.
And we, you know, Tom Trumbo convinced us to keep, even though Rick and Gil were on board with him, to keep Klink on board. So I wanted to fire him too. I wanted every taste of Ron Nevison right out of my mouth.
Wow.
And I like Klink; he's a great guy, you know. But I just wanted to clean house. So Klink stays on, and you know, we're recording, but we got to find more songs. So we looked for more songs. Rick, you know, was okay. He was a couple of songs. It was all right. Blah blah blah. One day I go to the studio and Klink's disappeared. Going like, what happened now? I said, where? You know, let's do some overdubs. Let's do Tears. You know, Tears in the Rain needs some work. Klink took that with him to LA. I said, excuse me. Mike Levine took the 2-inch masters. Oh yeah, he's starting to mix at Record Plant next week. I go, really? That's interesting. I wonder what he forgot to tell the band. And we're still 3 songs short of a load for an album.
Oh man, that's amazing.
It's just like it goes on the Gong Show. It continues.
Yeah.
You know, we recorded. Somebody's out there. Rick wrote. I said, Rick, go home. I don't care how long it takes. You give me a hit.
Somebody's out there is great. Just real quick, the Just One Night that Eric Martin from Mr. Big and Neil Sean of Journey. How did that get to you?
Jesus, no, that wasn't one of the Nevison songs because we would have known that was Eric Martin and blah blah blah.
Right.
So I don't know actually where that came from. Maybe Gil said, you know, there's a song I think I can sing the shit out of. You know, it's I heard it on the radio, but whatever. It's like it was never a big hit for Eric.
Right.
So you know, why don't we give that a shot? Which we did.
Well,
Turned out great.
Well,
but I produced somebody's out there because nobody else was there. I used the Metalworks engineers to record it. It was amazing, just amazing.
Somebody out there is amazing, and I have. First of all, that's the single that compelled me to buy the record, and I remember Much Music doing the whole. It's the premiere. It's the new Triumph. I was sold. So thanks, Much Music, because I bought that album. You know, after that video and that song came out, I was right down to the whatever A&A or Sam's or whatever it was back then, and I plunked down my money for it. Anyway.
That's great. Well, so the record sold pretty well, you know, and the tour went really well, all that, you know, but, you know, it didn't go well with the band. It wasn't the musical part of it.
It was the business part of it.
It was the recording part of it and the business part and what it did to us emotionally.
Oh, well, 40 years later, here I am to say it's okay. It's okay. I liked it. I liked it.
I don't think he's crying over it, Mitch. Oh, well.
I'm just here to provide comfort for bands. That's what I do.
Yeah, you guys, guess what? We should do this once a week. You'd be good psychologists.
Oh, we should.
We'll be your therapist. Bring us into the next recording session. We'll keep things on track.
Well, just real quick here. Speaking of therapy, was the documentary for Crave therapeutic in the sense where you revisited some stuff? You had the fans at the show. You played together. Did it sort of tie it all together and just went, yeah, let's really celebrate this band?
Yeah, it was really like Banger Films. They were,
just Sam Dunn.
Yes, Sam is beautiful. What they do, they have a great organization. They do great work. They do research. They do everything. We helped them along to spend more money than they wanted to. But hey, guys, you didn't really capture this. Maybe you want to rethink that just a little bit. Well, what do you mean? We think it's really good. We say, well, we don't. Maybe you can fix it up a little more. But they were so cooperative. They gave us, when they fought us on stuff, and we said, okay, you're the documentarians, and it has to be in there. But I was a couple of weeks ago. We are just laying the audio in. There was the mix. They wanted me to approve the mix before they laid it in of the whole movie.
Right.
And it was great because I had seen the movie in months. There was a lot of stuff that I had never seen. There's animation I'd never seen and that kind of stuff. They were just like little stripmen before. Now they were like creatures with color and stuff.
Wow.
It is really, it tells the story of the band. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. It's just a great story. How they crafted it.
Well, Sam does great work. I mean, everything he's done. He's got Martin Popoff that helps out every so often. They get it. They just get it, and it's great.
Yeah, I saw a thing on TV the other night. I was just flipping around. I went, what is this? There's Neil Sedaka, and there's Andy Kim. And what is this? It was all about the Brill Building in New York and the songwriting back then, and Carole King and Jerry Goffin and Lieber and Stoller. And I got lucky enough to meet most of those people at the Brill Building. So I was like fascinated by it because I was just a kid when that happened for me.
Yeah.
But I saw right at the time, at the credits, there was a little wee Banger Films credit. And I phoned Sam up. I said, did you do that show? He goes, that's a whole series on CTV. I went, really? Yeah, it's called, I can't remember what the name of it now. This is Pop, I think.
Yeah.
And they did an Alice Cooper thing a few years ago that was great too. So it was, and they documented Heavy Montreal or for the Global Metal Experience. Anyway, good band, good guys.
Yeah, great guys. So we were really happy that they agreed to do it, and B, how great they were to work with, and how great the film turned out. So great. I consider us very lucky on that.
So is that out yet? Or is that out yet, or it's coming out?
No, it's still not finished. It's COVID has just been a killer.
Ruined everything.
They're waiting for the Ron Nevison interview.
Yeah, there's a Ron Nevison interview in there.
They're just waiting to get that done.
They're still waiting for those 3 songs.
we wanted to have Ron come in and then have somebody with an AK-47 come in and shoot him.
Just shoot the tape machine.
As the 3 songs play in the background as the soundtrack.
Yeah. So Record Store Day this year, it's June 12th, and there's apparently on July 17th there's a second. But my question is, so is this box set only going to be available on June 12th? Because everybody runs to Record Store Day. Each record store only has a certain amount of box sets or copies of each thing. If I go to like my favorite record store here, and if I don't reserve one, like it's probably going to be sold out. So is there going to be a way for fans that can't get to the record store on June 12th or are afraid to go out because of pandemic and everything? Like, is there a way for them to get it online or go to another store? Like they could order it?
I wish the record company would have thought of those kinds of things because we thought of them.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, we need backup to be able to fill the holes if possible where people can't get it.
Right.
And it's a limited run. So there's not a ton of them. I mean, I think there's only 27 1,200 for America, 300 for Canada, and 700 for Great Britain and Europe. So
Wow.
there's nothing there. I would call it there really isn't much product out there.
Yeah, that's really limited run. Wow, that's
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to call my store right after this. Like, hey, au 33 tour, put one on the side.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, you can check it out. Record Store Day Canada on June 12th. The awesome Record Store Day exclusive 40th anniversary box set of Allied Forces is coming out. All kinds of really great knickknacks. And if you're a fan of Triumph or music in general, like, you're not going to get a better Record Store Day exclusive kind of package. This is just a proper package. So you should be really proud of it. It looks like it's going to be awesome. So I'm going to have to get my hands on one.
Yeah, it's really cool. Hang on one sec. I just saw it for the first time yesterday when.
Oh, you have it.
Oh, look at that.
Wow. It looks heavy, man. Good quality cardboard here. This is
oh, wow. That's a proper box set.
Yeah, there you go. Backstage pass. Hello.
Hey now.
Oh.
But it's really cool. Probably weighs 4.5, 5 pounds, something like that.
Nice. Well, yeah, the 180 gram vinyl these days is it's really thick and high quality. So
yeah, that'll add some weight. You know, when they started talking about vinyl and grams, I went, "What happened to cocaine?" You know,
it's true.
Oh my Lord! See, so that's perfect. Anyway, I'm very much looking forward to it. And remember, Sport of Kings is a fabulous album. Don't let anybody tell you anything different.
But Ron Nevison is a prick, so don't forget that.
And on that, absolute pleasure. And thank you for all the music over the years. You know, I remember back in the early 80s, there was this sort of de facto battle that the fans had. It's Rush versus Triumph. And I never bought into that. I always thought, fuck it, enjoy both. Just enjoy both.
Yeah.
Plenty of room for great bands.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny because you'd see, you know, at a Rush show, you'd see Rush shirts. At a Triumph show, you see Triumph shirts. At an AC/DC show, you'd see AC/DC shirts. You know, it was the uniform of the fan for the concert, but it didn't mean the AC/DC fan didn't like Rush or didn't like Triumph. You know, whatever. So I think it's just the whole story was three-piece bands from Toronto and story, right? Period.
Yeah.
Good matchup. Good matchup.
Yeah. Oh well.
Now, who could take who in a bar fight? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm pretty sure Mike could do circles around Getty in the parking lot.
Thank you, Mike. Right. Great pleasure. And let's do another one before 10 years or 15 years or whatever it's been.
You guys got it. This has been great. Thanks so much, Mitch and Jeremy. Very cool.
Merci bien. Cheers.
Thanks. So great to meet you.